You know, they say that money can't buy you happiness, but I'd rather cry on a yacht. Hey, welcome back, guys. So today we're talking about American Express, ticker symbol AXP. So as some of you know, I'm a shareholder of Visa, ticker symbol V, but I'm a customer of American Express. And I made a video on the American Express Cobalt card and all its perks and features and all that. And I'm not going to go through all the benefits here again, but if you want to check that video, I'll leave the link somewhere on this video or somewhere down below. But essentially, what I just want to say is that I love being an American Express customer, and I love the Cobalt card just because of its great perks that is offering. And I just think that it's so worth it for me to have that card. And that's the one that I use primarily whenever I go to some place that accepts American Express. And also, I love it when I pull it out and people are like, "Ooh, Andy, is that the American Express Black card? Is that the Centurion card?" And I'm like, no, it's just the Cobalt card because it kind of looks like the American Express Centurion, right? Because the Cobalt is dark blue and stuff, and people kind of mistake it. Actually, no, I've never had that happen to me in my life. That was a complete lie. But that's what I picture in my head whenever I use my Cobalt card to pay. So, in case you're not aware of what American Express actually does by now, they offer obviously credit cards, and they offer charge cards, and they offer a slew of financial services and travel related services. So, American Express is the transaction handler, right? So, when you use a card to pay for something, they're the guys in the background that handle the transaction and you tap into their network. Similar case with Visa or MasterCard where they facilitate the transaction. And looking at the valuation between American Express, Visa, and MasterCard on a PE basis, you can see that American Express trades at a discount relative to Visa or MasterCard. And the primary reason for this, I think, is because American Express is not only the facilitator of the loan, but is also the creditor and the originator of the credit. So if you don't know what an originator is, basically imagine if you had a Visa or MasterCard, it's probably issued by a bank or it's probably issued by a financial institution. Versus with American Express, they both issue the credit and they facilitate the transaction, which means that, you know, if you're spending on an American Express card and you default, let's say you just not pay and you just don't pay them and you can't pay, then American Express is on the hook for the money. Versus with Visa or MasterCard, they're not on the hook, right? They're just facilitate the transaction, but the bank or the financial institution that issued the card is on the hook for the money. So American Express is exposed to a little bit more risk in that sense because they're the originator of the credit, which is why I think the industry is valuing American Express kind of lower than Visa or MasterCard just because it's a riskier business. Now also keep in mind that American Express's business model is also significantly different than Visa or MasterCard. I know they kind of look similar and they kind of feel like they're similar from a customer standpoint, but American Express charges the merchant a 50% higher fee sometimes to facilitate that loan, which means that if you, in case you didn't know, whenever you spend money on a credit card, the credit card company or a Visa or MasterCard or whatever, they charge the merchant a small fee. Now, American Express charges a higher merchant fee, which means that it costs the merchant more to accept a credit card payment if it comes through on an American Express card. A lot of merchants find this annoying and they don't want to pay the extra fees. So that's why American Express acceptance rates are a lot lower compared to Visa or MasterCard. So if you ever walked into a shop where they say no American Express, well, now you know the reason why. It's because they get charged a higher fee if they accepted American Express. Now you're probably wondering, why would anyone accept an American Express card if the fees are higher? Well, for the merchant, they get access to a pool of more affluent customers just because people who have American Express cards tend to have more money. Let's just face it, right? Just because the cards themselves are more expensive anyways in terms of an annual fee. And I can verify this for a fact because if I just go on the American Express Canada website, you can see that almost all of their cards have some sort of annual fee, and some of them are quite hefty too. I'm not even talking about things like the Platinum. I'm just talking about the card that I have, for example, right? The Cobalt. It has a $120 annual fee that's charged monthly, so it has a $10 monthly fee. So a lot of people don't want to pay for that, but for me, I think that I do get a lot of benefit out of it. So it all depends on what your spending habits are and things like that. But for Visa and MasterCard, you can easily find a Visa or MasterCard that has 0% $0 annual fee, and it's not really an issue, right? So yeah, as I said, American Express customers tend to be more affluent and have more money, which has certainly helped their business model because they want to present themselves as a company that appeals to more of the prestigious side and the higher elite society. And whether you agree with that or not, or you like it or not, American Express is sort of perceived as the higher brand or the higher tier brand in terms of the benefits and all the perks that they offer, right? And the customer service is, from what I hear, a lot better than Visa or MasterCard. And right now, I can say that, in my mind at least, American Express is perceived as being more prestigious. Now, let's spend a brief few moments and talk about the American Express Centurion, or the Black Card as is commonly known. So this is a card that is invite only, so you can't even apply for it even if you wanted to. And the annual fee is about 5,000 US dollars per year. And there's also a one-time initiation fee of 10,000 US dollars. And you're probably asking, why would anyone want this? And the reason for that is because it's just such a great flex, right? Like, you pull out the card and it's so well known too, right? Everyone knows about it. But I shouldn't say that, because besides the flexing, there's also other benefits that come out of it. So for example, I won't name all of them, but for example, the most famous perk is the American Express Centurion Concierge, which is just a dedicated person at American Express that you can call up at any time and ask them to do all sorts of crazy things for you. So some of the more common things are getting you concert tickets to sold out concerts. Back when concerts were a thing, right? So back when concerts were a thing, or back when movie theaters were a thing, right? So if a movie theater was like sold out or something, let's say if you wanted to see Rise of the Skywalker in theaters, I don't know why you would, but if you did, right, you call up an American Express concierge and you say, oh, I wanted to go see Rise of the Skywalker, but it's sold out. Can you get me a ticket? And then they could probably do that for you, just because American Express has these deals with all these different sorts of companies where they have a certain amount of tickets on reserve for American Express customers specifically, or for Centurion card holders specifically. You can't just be any American Express customer, right? So yeah, you call up your American Express concierge and they'll arrange that for you. So I was browsing American Express concierge stories on Reddit, and this one guy who used to be a concierge was telling all kinds of crazy stories of all kinds of crazy stuff that his customers used to ask him to do. So for example, there was this one guy who ate something bad the previous night and attended a business meeting the next day, and he shot his pants. Yeah, so he ended up calling the American Express concierge and was like, can you get me some new pants? So then the concierge, arranged for some guy to send him a new pair of pants and rushed it over to him from a nearby hotel. So yeah, asking for new pants after you've had an accident is a perk that is not explicitly stated in the American Express brochure, I'm sure, but is one thing that you can tap into. It's nice being rich, isn't it? Don't you wish you were rich? Anyways, I know this is a bit of a tangent and we're supposed to be talking about American Express stock, but I think that if you really believe that stocks are part of the business itself, I think it's really important for you to understand the business as a whole before you consider buying the stock or anything like that. So I'm just trying to get you guys to understand a little more about American Express, and the Centurion card is pretty much a great example of what symbolizes American Express. And lastly, I just wanted to talk about a report that recently came out that American Express bought $1 billion worth of points from Hilton. So as some of you know, with the current crisis and all, Hilton is a hotel chain, and hotels are not doing so well in the current crisis, right? So they need to raise some quick cash, and they saw this great way to raise some quick cash, which is just to sell some of their reward points to American Express. So if you're confused about how this works, American Express has the right to issue the points that they bought from Hilton or from wherever, right? So they sometimes would issue their customer points as rewards based on their spending, right? So that's their business model, but they need to buy the points from Hilton first. And they're obviously buying the points from Hilton at a much lower price than what you can redeem them for as a customer. So they're obviously getting a discount when they buy the points from Hilton versus if you were to use your points or Hilton, or if you could buy points from Hilton. I'm not sure if you could as a customer. I don't really go to hotels that often, but yeah. And overall, I think this is a good deal for everyone, right? So American Express can get access to a whole bunch of Hilton points for cheap, and Hilton can raise a lot of money really quickly. And now you're probably thinking, why can't Hilton just devalue the points immediately after they sell them? Because they're sort of issuing their own currency almost, right, with the points. So you're thinking, why can't Hilton just pull a Jerome Powell and just print a lot more points? Well, technically they could, but I'm sure there's some sort of stipulation in the contract when American Express bought the points that Hilton can't just willy-nilly issue more points. American Express they're not idiots, right? They're a big company and they have a large market cap and they probably have a lot of leverage and bargaining power. So I would imagine American Express would be pretty mad at Hilton if Hilton just all of a sudden devalues the points. So I think that the points are not going to get devalued anytime soon, which is good for you as a customer too if you have Hilton points at the moment. So this is a sign that they're probably not going to devalue the points anytime soon. And I just think that American Express is positioning themselves in a really good place to be able to continuously give out reward and provide value to their customers with this deal. Yeah, so all in all, I understand American Express as the originator of the loans. They're at a little bit more risk compared to Visa or MasterCard, but this is definitely a stock that I'm super interested in, and I'll definitely pick up some shares if the price drops. And yeah, I think it will be a great complement right next to my Visa shares. So anyways, I'll leave the video here for today. It's getting a little long. Be sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video and consider subscribing if you like this series. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I'll leave the links down below in the description as always. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.